Now, the only people excluded from this testing are the students who take the Law 1 standardized test. That is a picture-only and pointing type test. Special education students who are not going for a high school diploma, who might be on a skills certificate track, or they may be on a certificate achievement test, excuse me, must take this A.C.T. test, regardless of the fact that they are not going to go to college. Now, that score is going to be used later on against the high schools, or any school, because the school receives a score for every test that is taken. Any special education student who is functioning at a 1st to 6th grade level will not pass that A.C.T. test. Yet they are being forced to do this. During the months of March and April, students are taking 4, 5, 6 different standardized tests now. And that's a big stressor, especially on the special education student. So I would like to know who in their great wisdom decided that a special education student level is forced to take that A.C.T. test. And it's not only just the 11th graders now. Any 12th grader who didn't take it last year is being forced to take that test. Now, you know teenagers, most of you have one, or you've been around a teenager. If you force someone to do something they don't want to do, what type of score do you think you're going to get on that test? And then how is that data then going to be manipulated to make the schools look like they are not doing their job? And of course, then the teachers are not doing their job. So, can you tell me who decided this? Anybody? Let me just say it wasn't me.
I appreciate your concerns, and Chris and I met last week with Lacan and Latin, and these are parents of kids with disabilities. Developmental disabilities, they have the same concerns. I think the problem is most acute where you just identified it, but it extends beyond that. We have kids in high school who are on a career diploma track, and they're not taking the courses to prepare them for the subject matter that's tested on the A.C.T. It's really only the core 4 curriculum students that are getting the curriculum necessary to address the subject matter on the A.C.T. So if you make students take a test that is designed to gauge college readiness, who decided long ago they're not going to college. They didn't get exposed to the curriculum necessary to prepare them for success on the test. And some kids who are developmentally disabled and unable to perform basically at any level, you're not gauging anything that's of significance, that's relevant, that you're going to be able to use in a meaningful way. But you are going to create this idea, especially when 25% of the high school performance scores are based on this. Our high schools are going to go backwards, and because of a meaningless test, and I'll tell you why we do it, because the A.C.T. is the cheapest test we can get. It's off the shelf, it's ready, and we're trying to save money, and we're trying to make everybody take the test. I will tell you, it's a problem with me. It's something that I visited with Superintendent White about recently. I wasn't really excited about the answers that he gave me as to why he thought it was the right thing to do. And I will tell you, I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit here, that I have drafted legislation that says, no, we're not going to do that.
I think it should be noted that most probably a very lucrative contract was made with Educational Test and Service. And that's not a joke. The next thing is, as a vocational teacher, about 2/3 of my students don't normally take the A.C.T. test. About 1/3 do, and I have students that go everywhere, and straight to work also, into college and technical schools, etc. The Chief Operating Officer of Palo came by last week who had sponsored my students in the ABC school in New Orleans, the Bayou chapter, and hired my students straight into the field in placement along the river in many different plant situations. He could care less about the A.C.T. score. There's nothing wrong with the A.C.T., but this implementation of one-size-fits-all using the A.C.T. score is totally irrelevant to the educational progress of our students in our state. Now, I'm a college graduate, obviously, and I've taken the A.C.T. That's not negating the A.C.T., but at the same time, it shouldn't be used as a cure-all for all students and try and use it as a generic tool for evaluation, which will definitely lower our school score. Now, what I want to reiterate is not only will the school score go down somewhat because I have students that do not belong taking ACT. These are the students that put the mortar between the bricks. They weld the bridge they can drive over every day. They do a very good job on it. But at the same time, the State Department of Education has reduced the points that our school gets for these industry-based certifications. I have about 85 students last year, industry-based certified. They would get about 150 points or so apiece, and I think they reduced that now down to like 50 points or less apiece for those industry-based certifications. So the state is saying now when you school score, you can get less points for those industry-based certifications. At the same time, they're going to take an ACT test, of which they may not do as well on, and which will reduce the school score. That's not progress. This is progress. That's not progress.